Okay, so Planet X, or Nibiru, you've probably heard of it, right? Often kind of pushed aside, maybe called folklore, certainly not mainstream science. But what if that's changing? What if the science itself is starting to point towards?
Well, towards something. That's what we're digging into today. Our mission really is to look at sources that challenge that old dismissal. We've got some pretty compelling arguments, some surprising stuff. We'll be mixing, standard scientific research with some less conventional approaches too.
Pushing the boundaries a bit.
And the science part is not coming from just anywhere. The sources we looked at really highlight recent work by Konstantin Batygin and Mike Brown, planetary scientists at Caltech. They've done these incredibly detailed analyses, computer models. Basically, their work is forcing people to rethink this whole Planet X idea. Brown even said, and this really jumped out, why is this different? This is different because this time we're right. Quite a statement.
It really is. So the big question for you listening is, what actually happens when evidence for something this mysterious starts piling up? Even if you can't just point a telescope and see it clear as day. And believe me, the sources reveal some twists. We're talking global telescope building, the Vatican naming a telescope Lucifer, ancient prophecies, even remote viewing. It gets wild. Let's jump in. So starting with the science. Batygin and Brown's work, it points pretty strongly to an object, they say, bigger than Earth, lurking way out there in the outer solar system. And the key thing is its gravity. The research suggests its pull is messing with the orbits of other objects and, yeah, potentially even affecting Earth's weather. And again, this is coming from respected scientists. That's what makes it, hard to just ignore. It challenges that long-held skepticism.
Right. And you have to understand why the scientific community was so dismissive for so long. It often sounded, well, sensational, quackery even. But Batygin and Brown, their work is based on math, on the weird clustering of these very distant objects, extreme trans-Neptunian objects. They just don't orbit the way they should. And a big unseen planet's gravity. It's actually the best explanation right now for why they're all sort of lined up. But the big hurdle is seeing it. You need that visual confirmation, that picture through a telescope.
Right, the smoking gun.
Exactly. Without that, even solid gravitational evidence, it struggles for full acceptance. It's just how astronomy works.
But that lack of a photo, it hasn't stopped things from getting interesting. Our sources pointed out this weird surge maybe 10 years ago. Lots of countries suddenly building huge telescopes, all aimed at the outer solar system. And yeah, the Vatican. Investing in big scopes, including one called Lucifer. I mean,
It makes you wonder.
it really does. Like, did they know something? Were they looking for something specific they weren't broadcasting?
And this connects, according to the sources, to much older ideas. Ancient knowledge, prophecies. They bring up biblical references to a planet called Wormwood, returning every, 3,600 years. And they equate Wormwood with Planet X. The claim is that this object caused the pole shift behind the Great Flood, wiped out civilizations, maybe even the dinosaurs. So not just a lump of rock, but something tied to Earth's deep history.
Okay, so prophecy meets modern astronomy. And then there's another layer entirely, remote viewing. Yeah, the sources talk about using remote viewing to actually look at this mystery. The viewer involved apparently learned from Russell Targ.
Oh, from the SRI program.
Exactly. Targ and Hal Puthoff, they ran that Stanford Research Institute program for the CIA's Stargate project, the government trying to use psychic abilities for intel, real program. And this specific remote viewer, they supposedly had a track record of finding weird stuff in space during sessions, things that weren't ours. So they had a personal interest in checking out Planet X.
And what they found or perceived is, well, it's pretty out there. They reported a very large object, definitely there, but not a planet, technically, though it looks and behaves much like a planet.
Okay.
And getting close to it sensorially was strange, feeling dizzy-headed, a magnetic gravitational flux. It's a weird phrase, right? Like it was pushing and pulling at the same time. And a sound, a deep resonant sound vibration. But the biggest thing was this telepathic hit, this realization. The object felt alive, teeming with life inside. That was actually a huge space vehicle.
Yeah.
A mammoth planetary space vehicle, despite looking barren on the outside.
Space vehicle, shaped like a planet. Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. So what did they see inside?
The description is
Yeah.
vast, hollowed out, bigger than several large cities, and multi-layered.
And occupied.
Yes.
Yeah.
By giant human-like beings, about 12 to 15 feet tall.
Human.
That's the description. And get this. Several of these beings had red hair.
Red-haired giants, okay.
The viewer felt they interrupted something, like a heated discussion, and then felt psychically kicked out. But not before getting a kind of mental imprint. Information downloaded directly.
Whoa. Okay, unpack that imprint. What did it say?
First off, definitely not a Galactic Federation spaceship, that idea of a benevolent alliance. Nope.
Okay, so not the good guys, necessarily.
It was called an Ancestor ship, inhabited by a race that's been around longer than prehistoric man on Earth.
Hmm.
And crucially, they're not strangers to our planet. They've once walked our lands.
Ancestors.
Like,
Our ancestors.
that's the implication. But their view of us now, apparently they don't think very highly of us.
Ouch.
But it's complicated. They're facing their own internal conflict. A karmic dilemma, the imprint called it. Some want to help humanity on Earth. Others, they want to destroy us to save themselves.
Joyous. Why?
It seems tied to their own evolution, their path regarding service to self versus service to others. The imprint suggested it mirrors the same soul learning process happening here on Earth. That struggle between self-interest and helping others might be like a universal thing.
That's profound.
Mhm.
And heavy. What about the ship itself? You mentioned its orbit.
Yeah, the orbit is described as strange. The remote viewer linked it to an ancient explosion with some other planet, something that happened a very long time ago. It means they don't have full control over its path.
So they're just writing it out.
Seems like it. And as they get closer to Earth, they apparently fear annihilation because of the gravitational forces. They have smaller ships, exit vehicles, but they really don't want to get trapped on Earth.
Okay, let's pull these threads together. We have the science hinting at a massive object. We have ancient stories. We have this incredible remote viewing account of an ancestor ship with internal conflict. And the sources link this to, the growing awareness that we're not alone. Despite mispredictions in 2003, 2012, 2016,
Right, those dates came and went. No collision.
but the idea persists. The sources suggest visibility of Planet X will eventually be evident in the skies to all as it gets closer. And there's speculation maybe the CIA releasing UFO files is part of preparing people, preparing for disclosure.
Could be.
And the ultimate purpose, suggested by the sources, for Planet X to reveal itself, to awaken us to our true past.
Which brings up that really provocative question the sources pose. Are they the Anunnaki?
From the Sumerian texts.
Exactly. The ancient texts talk about these celestial gods, the Anunnaki, who came from the sky, masters of genetics, supposedly involved in creating early humans. The sources lean into this. These beings brought early life to this planet. They are our ancestors.
It fits the ancestorship idea from the remote viewing, too. It's a lot to take in.
It really is.
And it makes you look again at how the whole Planet X topic just vanished from mainstream discussion in the early 80s. It was being talked about. Then suddenly, silence, ridicule for anyone who brought it up.
The sources suggest that meant they were getting too close to the truth, that the lid got put on it deliberately.
Yeah, that pattern of reveal and suppress, it definitely makes you think. So where does this leave us? We've gone from Caltech calculations to giant red-haired beings in a planet ship. It's quite a spectrum.
It is.
The science points to something gravitationally significant out there. The less conventional sources offer this incredibly detailed, almost mythic narrative about who or what it might be.
In their connection to us.
Exactly. It's mind-bending stuff. But taken together, the sources definitely paint a picture that maybe deserves that second look.
And the sources do encourage people to explore these ideas themselves.
Hmm.
And importantly, not to approach it just with fear. Because as they say, the future is still being written.
Right. It's about understanding, not just reacting.
Yeah. There are multiple viewpoints, and learning more from different angles, that's usually the best approach with big mysteries like this.
So here's a final thought to leave you with, based on all this. If these beings are our ancestors, if they brought life here, and now they're facing a moral crisis similar to ours, what does that truly mean about our shared history, our current path, our destiny? What would awakening us to our true past actually involve?
And just stepping back as this awareness grows, the idea that we're not alone, how does that fundamentally change how we see life? Our own place in the cosmos is a big question.